I'm Nikeeya that's my native name. That was given to me by Dene Tha, my dad and my mom. I was raised in northern Alberta. It used to be called Habe, and they changed it to Hay Lakes. It was Hay Lakes and then Habe, I think. Anyways, I was raised there and in a log cabin. Pretty much most of my childhood upbringing till I was teen, I was raised in a log cabin. We had to do a lot of work because we had no running water or anything like that. We had to pitch water, and we had a wood stove, so we had to cut lots of wood. And summertime, it was a lot of hunting, berry picking to preserve a lot of food for the winter. So winter is longer in those days. I think it was very cold. My mom used to make hides out of moose, and that's what she used for footwear, like moccasin and jacket. My mom made living by making crafts. Like she would make mostly wraps around and mukluks, and were like when you with my dad being a trapper, he had pelts and stuff, and pelts that are not, well, he knows it won't make much money. My mom is fortunate to get beaver pelts and stuff to make her slippers, for trimming for her slippers, and mukluks, and she even make mittens, like moss bag and stuff. And moss bags are quite popular. It's coming back, and I'm pretty busy with it. But with moss bag, in those days, maybe before I was born, or people didn't have diapers and stuff, and people would use moss. That's why they call it Tha. That means moss bag. Directly, moss, like you get it from moss cake. We were small, and we go to this moss cake, and we pick moss, real nice chunky ones, and we put them on the little branches all around to dry. And my mom would bag them. That with the moss bag, you kind of take a cloth, just a piece like a diaper. We don't have much diapers in those days, and then you kind of have make a little, like a pillow, and you stuff moss in there, dry moss, and then you put that under the baby around like a diaper. That's why we call it the moss bag. There was a church. They built a church, and then I think it was in '51. That's when I was born. That's when they built the residential school at that time. So a lot of my siblings went there, and eventually I ended up going to residential school. So I can't say I'm a survivor of residential school. So it's good and it's bad, and but we learn a lot of outside world living, and so which was good for that reason. We were kind of prepared to, if we ever left the reserves, that we would understand the outside world. Now, as I'm getting older, I retire and don't have much to do, so it's been like maybe 6 years I got back into my traditional ways. So, and I'm doing pretty good right now. I self-taught a lot of stuff that my mom taught me, and she did a lot of sewing, so I watch her a lot, and I developed a lot of trade from her. So now I'm working on the hides, which was done a lot to our traditional. And this is the hide that my mom and my Dene hide. I'll say Dene, it means mom in my language, and Tha means my dad. So anyways, they made hide. I kind of, when she passed on, I took them all. So I could, it's already scraped, the hair is scraped by them, and then the flesh part is all done. So I got quite a few of these prepared hides. So now I'm working on it to accomplish what they taught me to. We didn't have much income as money and stuff. So my dad was a trapper. He trapped pretty much all his life, and he had a huge trap line. So he used to be gone in early October he would come home for Christmas, and he would bring loads of fur. Like he had 2 dog sled, huge ones. They used to be just packed with furs. And the fur buyers come at that time when he knew the men are coming. In those days, you either flew in or there was winter roads that they use to get in, because it's about over 100 kilometers to our nearest little town, which was high level. When we moved to Hebei, they did my dad built a log house. That's our home for the time. At that time, my mom did a lot of craft, and for people that come in and go when oil company start developing that area, my mom made a lot of craft for them, like moccasin, mukluks, and stuff like that for income. And that's where I am with my craft now, and I'm very thankful and thank them pretty much every day for her teaching me all these traditional ways, I guess you could call it. So I'm trying to keep it up as much as I can. With the dry unfinished flesh and scrape hide, what we do is you bring, in those days they didn't, my mom used snow water or river water. We didn't have tap water, but I was told not to use tap water. It has chemicals in it. Everything done is natural for doing hides. So I don't have any rainwater, but we found a spot where there's spring water, so we hollered spring water to soak my hide in. Once I put brain on it, I use pure brain, and people use different things. I heard some use mayonnaise and some use soap bar, the real sunlight pure bar. That I use that one with the brain a bit, not much. And oatmeal, I just put a bit of oatmeal in it. But first I make a broth with soup bones, anything that has nice chunky marrow in it. Kind of make a pot of broth in it and take the marrow out of the bone and disregard the bone, and then I put my brain in it. I kind of squish it around. I usually one cow brain or moose brain is pretty much for a hide this size. You put it on the hair side. You put the paste on the hair side, and then if I have a little bit left over, I put it on the other side too. I just do it both ways to be on the safe side, and it worked fine for me because this is it's working out pretty good. After that, you smoke it over the fire with the beam, like I spread the beam around. Just spread out like a fan. You spread them out over the fire. And make sure you don't have really fire going. You have to be like a smudge. You want to be like a smudge. You got to keep an eye on it, and I always have a water bottle that if it comes into fire, I just spray a little bit so it keeps the smoke, and you smoke it on both sides. And you do that for about 3 days. The hide will become a little kind of tanny, dark tanny, smoke looking tanny. And then once you're satisfied, you fold it really tight and you get a bin with prepared water, which I get from the spring. It's got to be lukewarm to a touch, can't be hot, and you soak it. I put a rock over it so it would keep the hide down into the water. And then I would let it sit, and then once in a while I turn it around, put the rock back in it, and a good day, I've went 4 days. So it depends, like once it's soft, then I play with it in the water. I kind of take rubber gloves that has good grip, grab it and just wash it, just like you're washing clothes by hand. Keep playing with it till it feels soft. And then I take it to the pole, and then I alternate ringing, like this length, I have another rod that I go the opposite. Make sure you use the same length, kind of weave it in, and then you start ringing it and pull. You kind of ring it, pull, till it comes into little twists like an intestine, and pull. And then and hold it like that till the water drips a little bit, drip, and then do the other end, the other likewise, opposite way. Once the water's all gone, then I put it on here. You'll be a bit wet, but I scrape. I really scrape. You want to get rid of all the thin skin. They call it, in my language, you call it ebeze. So that ebeze has to come all off. Like this one is getting better, but you would see these little things. So you work on it. I know it's a lot of work, but you gotta, this might be ready, but I'm not satisfied with it, but you gotta keep wringing it like that, scraping it. And then once I'm pretty happy with it, I would soak it again. I would soak the hide, let it sit, maybe for a day, maybe a day or two. You would tell it's really soft. Then my last job will be wringing it really good. Keep turning it, wringing it, get all the water off, and then you go to the next pole. And once you wring this, after second soaking, you could soak as much as you want. If some hides are tougher, especially a bull moose is very tough, especially around the back to this part. It's really tough, so sometimes soaking doesn't make it soft, but you could scrape quite a bit like what I'm doing, and there's a thicker part. You work on it and scrape, and all this would come off. And if you're not satisfied, if it's still not soft, it looks like it's tough, don't be afraid to soak it again. I've soaked one hide already about 3 or 4 times, so don't worry about it. If it's thin, it's so iffy. You got to be really careful when you're wringing. You don't want to wring real tight because you might rip it. So, but with bull moose and a big cow moose, you could soak it and pull on it. It's tough. And once you've done the last one, you wring it, and then you go, and I have another pole that I use for once it's dry, a little bit, not much wet, then you pull over the fire. You could have a light fire, not smoke, just a light fire that would, as you're pulling, would dry. And that too, you got to alternate. If you pull this length, alternate to the other length, likewise. And then keep doing that, turning. Some people have quite a few people standing over the fire and pull on each end. And you go every little inch of the hide pulling, so that pulling helps it stretch. Whatever, if it's tough part, you pull on it, it will stretch, and until your satisfaction, till it's almost dry. Then I put it back on the bar and do more scraping, and then it'll be softer. You scrape till you got no more little fluffs coming out, that all that little membrane or whatever you call it, as it would come off. Then when you're tanning, it won't be tough. All that scrape, like, you work more on the flesh side. The flesh side is the one you tan. So you work on it till all that little membrane, like this one. I would work on this part will come off. Not so much around the edge, but I'm trying to get every piece of hide as I can. So I will work on that one. So, and then, when you're satisfied, then it's ready to tan. You cut off as much piece you want all around. And then you make sure you keep track of the flesh side has to go inside the hair side of the outside, and you sew it. And you sew all around and leave an opening at the bottom. And you tack 3 little strings on top to tie it to the pole so it hangs. I use old jeans to make a skirt. You make a skirt about enough. So make sure you got this opening that you could check the fire in. And use I use old poplar, like it don't tailor. In my language we say it don't tailor. It rotten wood is good. A lot of, I never use spruce because my parents, and they never use spruce, so I use poplar. Or you could find it laying around way in any country where people go hunting and stuff. That's where I pick them. And you got to attend when you're smoking. You really have to attend it so you don't see any fire. I always have a bottle of water with me, so if it goes on fire, just spray it to make sure there's no fire. You want that heat, but smoke the old wood. While we're hunting, that's when I smoke the hide. We kind of dug a hole in the ground, and that's where you make a little fire in that little hole. It can be big, and then you kind of we made a pole across to tie the hide, like I sew a little string on top, so you kind of let it hang like a tube, and make sure. Don't forget that one thing is, I see a lot of, I bought hides before and people saw it. But if there's a hole like that, just use an old jean or canvas little piece and just enough sew that piece. Then like it's easy, it'll tan, but then when you cut, you could cut really close to it and flat. I like my hide to be really like a blanket. I don't, if it's pulled too much, it gets ripply. I bought hide like that. It's ripply and it's really hard to even cut a pattern from it. And it's, to me, that stretching, you think you get more hide, but when you use it for craft, it's very difficult to cut that ribbly because they want to stretch it as much to make more bigger hide. It's not worth it. So, and make sure it's all closed in before you start putting on the smoke, or the smoke will escape. They do sewage of the need to. That way you'll have a decent, with smoke trap you get a better result from tanning. When you finish tanning inside, if you want to, inside out, put it inside out. Put attachment like you did the other one, and then you could try to tan it just a little bit lighter. See, this was more towards the fire, that's why I got a little bit of darker, and this is softer light color. I hope you enjoyed and learned something from this video, because it is hard work, but you know, when you accomplish something like that, you could make money with it. You could sell it. Hide sells anywhere at the most $3,000, so you could make a good income on it. I hope you enjoy watching this video. If you have any comments or questions, you could, I'll try to answer most of it as best as I can. Dene Tha, Dene Tha, that's it.